Hey there, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about how to write essay hooks in this video. Now, if you have been learning how to write an essay, you probably already know that a hook is something we add into the introduction paragraph of an essay. And it is usually the first thing that you write in an essay, although you don't always have to write it first. You could write it last, but it is the first thing that a reader will see when they read your paper. Now, why is that? Why do we need a hook at the beginning? Well, a hook is how you grab the reader's attention. It's essentially how you take the reader out of their world and into yours that you're writing about. So let's just imagine you're in a class, you're a student in a class, and your professor walks into the class and is going to give a lecture. The professor wants you to focus and pay attention to the lecture for maybe an hour. And the first thing the professor says is open your books to page 500. Now, you might not be very excited about doing that, but you'll probably do it. But imagine your professor walked in and said, hey guys, I want to tell you a story about a time, and they start telling you a story that relates to the reading in the book and to the lecture that the professor will do. That's going to wake you up. That's going to focus you. That's going to make you interested. That's your goal, is you want to make the reader interested in what you're about to write. Because you're writing your teachers, you're writing essays for classes, maybe you're writing an essay or some letter to apply for a job or to be admitted to a university. And these people who are reading your writing, they're reading hundreds of papers just like yours. So you got to be able to take them out of that world of having sat on the freeway for an hour in LA traffic, or having had a difficult morning dropping their kids off at school, or having some, stress due to whatever is happening, at their house. You got to be able to take them out of that world and into your paper. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. And those are here in this video. So I'm going to imagine in this video, I want you to imagine, I'm going to write an essay about why running is beneficial to people's health. Okay. Now I'm going to write that essay, but I need a way to grab the reader's attention before I start writing about that. And I'm going to give you some examples of how I can do that. All right, one is a definition. I think this is a really great way to start a paper by using a definition. A definition is just what we use when we explain something for the first time to someone. And you could write a definition for anything you are writing about. You can make your own definition. So here's an example of a definition as a hook. Running is the physical activity that involves using the feet and legs to take quick steps, but it is much more than that. It is the activity that contributes to overall physical and mental well-being while simultaneously allowing the participant to create a sense of community among the people with whom they share miles and miles each day. That definition of running might get the reader more interested in this paper about health than a different type. Another way you can start a paper is by using a quote. So here's an example of a quote. And again, imagine it's on the same paper about running and the health benefits of running. The famous reality TV star Bob Harper writes, "Exercise is medicine. It should be prescribed by your doctor and only taken regularly in the dose that works for you." Now, this quote is a really exciting way, I think, to start this paper about running and health benefits. So what I would do if I use this quote is then I would transition into my point about how running is beneficial to health. You can also use a startling fact or a statistic. Statistics, facts are usually like numbers or percentages, things like that. So here we have one that says, of 25,000 people that were surveyed about running, only 8% stated that they loved running. Half said they hated it. Now, this is a startling, shocking, interesting fact or statistic. And although it says something negative about running, my goal in writing this paper is to convince you that running is good. So this fact is really good for me in my paper if I chose to use it as a hook. You can also tell a story or an anecdote, which is like a story. Honestly, this is one of my favorite types of hooks that students use because they're always personal and original because it's from the student. So again, imagine I'm writing this paper about the health benefits of running and I start with this hook. As I sat up in my bed staring at the walls in the dark for the third night in a row, I made a decision to do something about the stress that was causing my anxiety. The next day, I decided to go on a light run. So that's kind of like a piece of my life, like a little story that I'm telling you about something that happened one night and the decision I made to fix that problem. And that's a great way to start a paper. You can also ask a rhetorical question. It's a question, but it's not a question that requires an actual answer. Rhetorical just means persuasive. So when you use a rhetorical question, you're not really asking anyone to answer your question. You're asking them to think about your question and you're kind of convincing them to agree with you by asking this question. So for example, we have this question here, or here is my example of a rhetorical question as a hook. Many people ask why marathon runners would pay hundreds of dollars to run in grueling 26-mile races that leave them in complete exhaustion with a small medal as a reward. But the real question should be, why wouldn't you do this? But you don't need to answer. It's just, oh yeah, why wouldn't I? Okay, so you start thinking about it. And then if this were my essay, I would transition into my point, my thesis at the end of that body paragraph, of that intro paragraph. Another type of hook that I really love is to describe a scene or to just describe something and use a lot of detail. So again, with the same example essay of writing about the benefits of running, you can use a hook that describes a scene. And here's mine. I heard the sound of hooves pounding the soft dirt and dry grass behind me as I took a shortcut through the cow pasture near my home. The sound increased quickly as the realization of what was happening hit me. I turned back to see what seemed like a stampede of wild buffalo heading straight toward me. The one in the front had horns that I imagined piercing through my legs. What felt like a lifetime was really only 2 minutes of sprinting to my escape, the chain-linked fence at the other side of the pasture. I had never jumped a fence so fast in my life. So this description of this scene of me running from bulls, which is a true story, cows and bulls, it's a true story. This is so vivid because it has so much description. You can like smell, hear, see, feel the details that the writer uses to set up this scene. And this is a great way to bring the reader into your paper about the benefits of running, for example. So that is what I wanted to tell you today about hooks. I hope you can look at the paper you're writing right now and think about one of these ways and use this one of these tips and one of these strategies to start your paper off. Try it out. See how it goes. I hope this has been helpful. Bye.